This is Hat and Tat, a business podcast that is now 18% more useful than scrolling LinkedIn.
We're getting better.
Every time.
So today, Steve, we're going to talk about the second batch of Hamilton Helmer's 7 powers. This is network first, scale, and then
Switching costs.
Switching costs.
Now, if you didn't listen to the last episode where we covered the first 2 powers, quick recap. Hamilton Helmer's 7 powers has become a staple amongst the titans of business. It's constantly talked about by Silicon Valley leaders. Even though it was published in 2016, Hamilton is still often referenced by industry leaders, and he's been recently making podcast rounds again. We've listened to several of his podcasts where he goes through the 7 powers with different hosts, and these podcasts have ranged back to like 2020, 2022, 2024. Still all very applicable powers. It's like they're timeless.
This reminds me of the Lindy effect. So the Lindy effect is really like things that are more powerful and useful stay in society longer. And so, I mean, just the more it's referenced decade after decade coming up, I think the more useful it'll be. But yeah, it's a very good way to review your business and think through your strategic choices so that you can accumulate power.
Excellent point. And I think last episode, part 1 of the 7 powers series, Hamilton often refers to 3 phases of business: origination, takeoff, and sustainability. And some of the powers correlate to that. So last episode, we talked about the first 2 powers that are associated with origination, which is counter-positioning and cornered resource. And today we're going to be talking about the takeoff phase of business, which we talked about at the beginning of the show: network economies, scale economies, and switching costs.
Okay, so Steve, kind of define the network effect.
Yeah, network effect, network economies. This is Hamilton defined it as, this is just a system where there's going to be more value of a product or service to the user. As the more users join, the more value it's going to be for the user, but also for the company. And as he talked about in all the powers, there's 2 sides to every power. There's the benefit and the barrier. So you can't just provide a great product or service to people. There also has to be some sort of moat or barrier that's going to prevent someone from copying exactly what you're doing instantly. I mean, over time, people can copy stuff, but...
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you want to give your example first, or do you want me to? I think his definition should have been like Facebook.
Yeah, instead of an actual definition. My definition is Facebook. One example that he gave that I thought was interesting was Google search. They were talking about it in related to a different power, but then he clarified and he thought that Google search fit best with network economies because in technical comparisons, he said Google search actually performs very similar to the other search engines out there. Where they get their real benefit is it was a very low percentage, maybe even less than 1% of searches on the internet being unique.
That's interesting.
So whenever someone searches, how far they scroll, the links they click on, that gives Google more information on what people are actually looking for when they type certain phrases. So then every time you're getting a better response because someone else has already clicked something. So it is that networked effect of better responses because people are clicking, so more people are going to go there and keep using it because they seem like it gets better results, and that kind of keeps the other search engines at bay.
Yeah,
so
that's a
very cool example.
Very cool example.
What did you find?
So mine for this one was Waze. Are you familiar with Waze?
Not enough to say I've heard the name.
Yeah, so it's basically like a map app where everyone participates and it's as you're driving, it's like, oh no, there's a car accident, or this is really slow. So the value of it though is as the network builds, you get more information, you get more cities, you get more road information in the current time. And what I found really interesting about this was just the velocity of value creation. In 2006, this project originally began as like free map Israel, open source community. Then they realized, oh, this could actually like be big. So they started the project in 2008 and incorporated it as Waze. Got their first VC funding, and within 5 years, they sold it to Google for $1.15 billion.
As you do.
As you do. And the crazy thing is there's kind of like a legendary employee payout that's in the legacy of the company. They only had 100 employees at the time that they sold, and because of how their stock options and retention pools were structured, the employees received on average $1.2 million each. Yeah, pretty wild.
So is the network economies related to the employee payout?
No, but the network was so beneficial and growing so fast. So when Google acquired Waze in June 2013, platform had roughly 50 million global users. But to put the growth in perspective for like a network effects discussion, just a year prior, so like mid 2012, they only had around 20 million users. So Google saw this and was like, okay, we got to pick them up. Like this is growing super fast. But I thought it was fascinating because, I mean, Google has a Maps app, but
yeah,
and instead of running that Waze into their map app or just creating their own version, they saw the value of that app by itself and the network effect it was creating that they just decided to buy it.
That's interesting. And they still operate it separately. It's not integrated with Google Maps.
Yeah, I think so. Like it's not. I mean, you get some warnings now with Google, but nothing near Waze's experience. But yeah, that was mine. Do we want to do scale next?
I'm going to give a quick one.
Ooh,
I think
okay.
the first thing that came to my mind was marketplaces, which makes a lot of sense because you need to have two sides of the market. You need users are only going to go there if there's good things being sold, and people are only going to sell things there if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I found this obscure one, which is an online vehicle auction called Copart. But one of the things that they specialize, according to the internet, is they do vehicle salvage auctions as part of it.
Yeah.
And that's partly what helps them grow. So their two-sided market of this is insurance companies and then people that are looking for vehicles that can't be salvaged. So, and it's such a niche market that you need people to go there to sell it, but you need people also to buy it. And they've essentially like boxed everyone else out of this like niche online car market because they're the place that everyone goes.
And these are cars that are not salvageable?
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting thing that I wouldn't have thought it would work, but that's cool.
Yeah. It's only part of it. Like they have wholesale repairable cars, and like everything on there. It's a massive online vehicle auction site. But there's just like a wide range of vehicles on there.
That's cool. And yeah, I think marketplaces are a really good one. I actually have another one. Can I share it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
you can.
Thank you, Stephen. So the other one I was thinking about was prediction markets, like Polymarket and Kalshi are making all the news right now for prediction markets, and the World Cup just happened and all the betting went crazy. But man, I just have to share this, like on Kalshi, the sports betting. So a sports book will make, and this is from Matt Levine and Bloomberg, a sports book on a normal bet will make like a 4% edge is what the guess is. But on a combo, which is called what are they called? The combo bets?
Parlay.
Thank you.
I think.
They are. Thank you. So a sportsbook makes like a 20% edge on a parlay, but they're great for retail because they're like, oh, I can win all this money if this goes. It's like a little lottery ticket. So Kalshi now allows combo bets or parlays in their book, but it's mark to market. So you need to have a network, right?
Yeah.
But as that network grows, the crazy part is people have lost so far year to date $290+ million on these combo bets. And the other people that are taking the other side and betting on this have made a ton of money, of course, because someone has to win, someone has to lose. But how it works is, say you have a combo bet for a sports play or whatever, you submit it. Within 1 second, these other parties have to submit a bid on what that price is, and then they select the lowest one. So, of course, there's all these like quant firms and everything that are doing this and making money, but there's these individuals who are getting into this as well. And there was one guy, he was like a 26-year-old software engineer, and he's making 7 figures a month selling combo bets to people on Kalshi. How cool is that?
Okay, that's fast. I never put that. I haven't paid that much attention or put that much thought into it. Like I knew there was a technical loophole. How they're not bets.
Yeah, prediction markets.
They're prediction markets. But then I assumed that it was the company that was making predictions.
No.
But you have like third parties, so you could just log in and just like put some wild thing out there, and people will just bet on it.
Yeah, there's odds on whether Jesus Christ will show up by like 2020 and this year.
News.
There's combo ones now. If like these 7 crazy things don't happen, then you get payout. Like it's insane. It's super interesting.
That's very interesting.
But yeah, much more valuable as that network grows and there's more people betting, more people bidding. So yeah, I think that's a great like recent example of a network effect.
I like it. All right, let's move on to scale economies. By the definition?
Yes. Stephen, what's scale?
A structure in which per unit production or distribution costs are going to drop significantly as total output volume or customer density increases. And this forces smaller entrants to operate at a cost disadvantage, which is your barrier. Benefit, you make more money, costs go down. Barrier, it's harder for anyone to come in. He didn't actually, in the podcast I listened to, he didn't really give any specific company examples to this. The ones I heard, he just kind of had more like high level. So he said like chemical manufacturing is obviously one because you have all your equipment, your processing, and the more chemicals you produce, the lower it's going to cost. So it's very capital intensive. So it's hard for people. And the other one he gave was dairy farming. Apparently, he grew up in an area where
that's a really weird example.
Yeah, I forget exactly where he said, but he's like, there was a lot of dairy farms. So I just familiar that there's like same kind of thing. High industrial, big vats, lots of equipment.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't just open up like an independent small dairy operation and expect to have the same cost benefits as a large industrial operation.
Oh man, from our previous podcast, like with Celsius, the distribution networks.
Oh yeah,
drinks,
absolutely.
Totally would be. What was your example? And we're the same.
The suspense.
The suspense.
The one I found was waste management.
Oh, okay.
No, not the same.
We're good. I was worried about this.
Yeah, waste management. I had no idea they were so big.
Oh yeah,
like, I've seen those garbage bins and garbage trucks, but yeah, apparently they are one of the largest environmental service providers in North America. So they're operating obviously in multiple cities, and just I mean, how much would it cost you to buy a whole bunch of trucks? Like you can just buy one garbage truck and try and service one neighborhood. It just cost isn't there, and so because they're so spread out and can spread the cost of their trucks and services across entire cities and neighborhoods, kind of box everyone out. The other thing that I thought was interesting is apparently they operate a whole bunch of their own landfills.
Oh yeah.
So they don't have to pay the tipping fees, which is what a city would charge dump trucks to go like tip over their truck. So because they operate their own landfills, they eliminate that cost of the tipping fees, and then smaller waste management companies, not waste management, but waste management companies.
Yeah.
They sell space at their landfills, so they charge competitors to come and like empty their trucks there as well. So
that's a good example, I think, of like a cornered resource too, because you can't build a landfill anywhere you want. Like that's a regulatory hoop that's super hard.
And also there's only so much land.
Exactly, right? But if you have like a landfill that's within however many miles to the next one, they're going to be like, no, we're not opening up another one here. Like there's one there.
That was one interesting. So like these are like individual examples for each power because they're like prominent examples, but obviously companies can have more than one power.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, good point.
That's a really cool example.
And your non-waste management example?
So no, before we get there, if you're interested in waste management,
and
the business,
isn't?
not the company, check out Lone Star Trash Removal, I think it's called. This guy was a software guy, and then he was getting pissed off because his waste management company that was picking up his bins would like drop the bin on the side, and like it was just messy. And so he was like, screw this can't be hard. So he bought
I saw this online too.
Yeah, he bought a whole bunch of bins, and then basically canvassed his neighborhood, and it was like, hey, if I can get enough people, like I'll start my own. And he's got this great channel where he just like shares himself driving this dump truck. I mean, it's completely different scale and very small, but hilarious to watch. Okay. My example is my favorite company that I go to every day or every week, on Saturday and fight the crowds. And that is Costco. Costco is the best retailer in the entire world. I don't care what anyone says. This
podcast is not sponsored by Costco.
They sponsored no one. The crazy thing is, like, if you look at their business model, it's all scale. They only have like 3,000 to 4,000 SKUs in a store compared to like 30,000 in a traditional supermarket. A Walmart supercenter might have over 100,000. So it's like, okay, well, that's just less choice. But then if you think of like the throughput and logistics, you're selling through way quicker. So you're not tying up as much cash in inventory. In fact, I think they have like negative working capital. And then you're moving pallets of stuff versus having someone place them on shelves.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden your labor is way reduced, and then you can pay your employees more. And then
they do.
And then they treat their customers better.
And they can still sell hot dogs for $1.50.
Oh man, that's so funny. It's like just the best value proposition. And then the crazy part is they never mark up brand name products more than like 14%, and their Kirkland signature stuff more than like 15%. And that's compared to like 25 to 30% for like a traditional supermarket. And there's even an example they had where it was like way back in the days, these jeans come in from this manufacturer and they're like super cheap. And the person at Costco was like, we can price these so low, like we'll have way better margin, and they'll still be so low compared to the competitors. And they're like, no, like we do not charge more than this margin. That's what we do. And so it's just like a firm value that they have. Because of that, it's insane. Their operating margin over the last trailing 12 months. So they sold like $294 billion in revenue over the last 12 months.
It's a good chunk of change.
And their operating income is $11.2 billion, which is like 3.8%, which is essentially their membership fee. So they cover the cost increase for what they take in, basically covers all the operations of the business. And then the profit is basically just like the membership fee. It's crazy.
That's wild. The other thing that it's obviously not a 7 power, but like just this scarcity mindset, because they are known for not carrying a lot of inventory and also not carrying the same inventory every time. Like everyone just knows, like if you see something at Costco that you want and it's a good price, you have to buy it. Yeah. But if you go back a month later, it might not be there. Yeah. And it might never get stocked again.
Yep. And yeah, pro tip, if you don't want to spend money, avoid the middle of the store.
Oh, but that's the best part.
That's the best part. I love Costco. My favorite one was I bought a grill, like a plug-in electric grill, and it was like 16, 18 months old, and it died. And I just like walked it back in there, and I was like, I know this is like off warranty, and I know like I don't have a box or anything, but I feel like it should have lasted longer. And they were like, yeah, we'll take it back. I was like, you have me for life.
I like how it's also become a badge of honor. Like you see people just wearing like Kirkland signature t-shirts and it just says Kirkland like huge across the chest. Like
it's insane. Yeah. The craziest thing I saw in there was 2 old people. And they had a flat of strawberries and there was like 4 strawberries left and they were moldy, which, happens to fruit and all food as one knows. And they were in the return line ahead of me and they like went up and a transaction happened. And then like she called me over and I was like, did you like just return those like 4 like strawberries? And she's like, yeah, we take back anything. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's how you get customers for life.
That's how you get customers for life. Don't do that with strawberries, though, folks.
All right. Third power under the takeoff phase of business, switching costs.
Steve, definition of switching costs.
By definition, as Hamilton explains, this is when financial, operational, or psychological loss to a customer just becomes so painful that the thought of switching to a competitor or a different product is just completely out of the question. And the example that he gives is ERP systems, enterprise resource planning. So SAP, Oracle, just because they are so embedded in operations of a business, HR and finance, especially supply chain operations. Like once one of those systems gets in place, the idea of switching it out just becomes, I've worked at companies that have tried to replace their ERPs and that's like years long project management, change management, and it never goes well.
No, and this is like, not investing advice, but all the SaaS companies got like massacred when AI came out and everyone's like, oh, you're just going to vibe code an SAP or like a Salesforce and then they're going to lose all their revenue. And I was like, Mark Benioff, I think, Salesforce.
Yep.
They just bought back like 24 billion of stock, I think, in the most recent quarter. They're trading at like 10 times cash flow. I'm like, yeah, no one's going to vibe code this and get it into all these enterprises through their governance and privacy and all this stuff. So yeah, I purchased recently.
Not for an enterprise. Like if you have a small business that's like 10 people,
yeah.
like maybe.
But not a company.
But then you're probably not buying Salesforce or an ERP anyway.
Exactly. Any company with like of size is going to have like, oh no, you have lawyers and governance checks and privacy teams and cybersecurity teams. Like, yeah, that stuff's sticky.
All right. What was your example?
My example is Bloomberg terminals.
Oh, I almost had this one. I looked at it. I thought it was interesting.
It was
but
good.
I was like, yeah.
No, because I mean, you're spending tens of thousands a year on every single terminal, but because they communicate to each other and you can trade to each other, I mean, once you're off that network, I mean, network effect and a switching cost, because all of a sudden it's like this huge cost to switch this entire thing that's built out through your entire organization. That is a huge portion of your operating from a finance perspective. So yeah, massive switching costs.
That was the key. Like I always assumed that Bloomberg terminals were just like the news wire, things coming across the wire, the ticker, and things like that. But that chat function or the intelligence where you can like actually talk to other people and go back and forth, and having that sort of intelligent, like water cooler intelligence, but online.
And executing trades. Like if you're doing FX or something, like if you're in industry, like that's what you use.
Great. So my example, also software, is a company called Toast.
Oh, I also ran into this, but I totally forget what it is about.
Yeah, they're I'm not sure exactly where they started, but they're known for being a payment platform.
Okay.
But where they're focusing is on restaurants. So they decided to pick one vertical, and instead of just say, hey, we're a payment platform, they expand their software into all aspects of restaurants. So payments is what they're known for, but their software also goes into like the servers at a restaurant will take orders on it.
Yeah.
So it'll be order management, sends it back to the kitchen. Now they can do scheduling, they can do payroll, they can do inventory.
All in one. So
if they were just payment, it's super easy. I mean, I've been into some businesses over the years where it seems like they have a new payment terminal every time you walk in.
Yeah,
and there's like Square, Moneris, and like tons of them. But yeah, by embedding their software into every aspect of a restaurant's operations, having to switch that out, train people, update your systems, and like restaurants don't have that many days off or full-time employees. So to replace it, get all your workflows and your systems in place and train everyone would just be monumental. And apparently they're growing quite well.
Yeah, software, like a vertically integrated software across a whole platform is a really great example. I like that one.
I think one last thing on switching costs that he mentioned was these are things you need to think about up front, because it needs to be kind of embedded in how your product is at its core, because people will just like, it's got to be that moment where people know they want it, they know they need it, and they just onboard it. Whereas if you start with something and then try to add switching costs as a power, customers and people are savvy to that. And they kind of understand with like why you're trying to expand or why you're trying to get them to do certain things. So unless it actually has like a very beneficial utility, there could be resistance. So he said this is a tougher one to try and like add on over time. It has to be more of like at the core of your product.
Yeah, I like that distinction, because I mean, I've been at companies where you have one program with a SaaS and then they come to you and they're like, oh, but you should get this one and this one and this one. And then there's this like hesitation of like, no, we don't want to be pulled all the way into that one beast. So yeah, that's a really good distinction.
All right. I think that wraps up our takeoff phase of Hamilton Helmer's 7 powers.
Next phase and next 2 powers
is the sustainability phase. And next episode, we will be talking about branding and process power.
Oh, come back for that, because process power is really cool. And Steve's in marketing, so his branding example better be kick-ass.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.